Hi again. I'm feeling very called to share about a few things today. And one is the power of forgiveness. The power of forgiveness is one of the most profound tools that I have ever used to be able to work through some of my pain. Hi, Erin. Hi, Suniva. I love you. To work through some of my own pain and through some of the experiences that I've had. So just a little story behind all of that really quick so that it kind of makes sense. I've had to do a lot of forgiveness over the years. I've had to really practice forgiveness, like on a daily basis. It's been a huge part of my journey to find within my heart the forgiveness necessary for some of the things that I've experienced and gone through, and forgiveness and also unconditional love, which is extremely difficult for most people in my experience and my witnessing. And also, it doesn't mean, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean not holding someone accountable for their actions. And it doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior. So I want to clarify that, because I feel like a lot of times people don't realize that when they turn the other cheek, quote unquote, which was taught in Christianity, that it actually can empower the abuser to continue their behavior, and it creates a monster. And so forgiveness is really about forgiving. And when you give from yourself, you're actually giving to yourself, because that puts you into the law of circulation and into the laws, the universal laws and principles of the universe that require us to show up, right? So when we give, in the law of circulation is giving and receiving, right? And so through that process of forgiving, we're giving of ourselves to the situation, but we're also receiving that which we are giving. And so it works to our benefit to actually do this, to actually forgive someone, and also forgiving ourselves. And I did a video last week about self-forgiveness and some tools for healing the root causes of narcissism. And I encourage you to watch my videos, because a lot of my videos address some of these deeper experiences that we are having as a collective right now. And so there's a lot of us who are in this divide and conquer, and we're taking sides, and we're expressing our opinion, and we're charged. We're really charged with expressing our opinion. And sometimes our opinion isn't kind, and it's not exactly what needs to be said necessarily. And at the same time, we need to be able to speak our truth, to really understand what that means, and to be able to find a way to express ourselves without judgment and without harming someone else just because they have an opinion about something. Because pretty much what's been happening on the planet is we all fell asleep. And we need to wake up. And some of us are woke as fuck, excuse my French, but some of us are really awake and feel every single thing that's happening. And, you know, my intention is to embrace life, to embrace what's happening, and to respond to it. So through the process of forgiveness, it gives us an opportunity to be in the experience of life and also finding resonance within ourselves of the truth of what we are experiencing, but then also being able to step outside and beyond the third dimensional construct of that person hurt me, and so I'm not going to forgive them. It's unforgivable what they've done. For example, Harvey Weinstein. If I was to, in this moment, have not forgiven him a long time ago for what took place, and frankly, it was unforgivable in my experience what he did, and it wasn't mild, but if I was to not forgive him for his actions and find compassion for him, I wouldn't be able to be free in my own reality from that pain and that hurt that I experienced. I wouldn't have been able to move on. I would have held on to that for years, and it would have rotted me to the core, essentially. That's how I look at it. And I wouldn't be able to function in my own life to be able to process information quickly, with grace and ease, and to be able to move forward if I'm not willing to let things go, right? So when you're willing to forgive and step into letting things go and allow for the natural process of the laws of the universe to take place in your life, it gives the opportunity by releasing that other person or releasing yourself from these judgments and this pain, it allows for the universe to co-create with you and to help you in your life. So forgiveness is a very delicate thing for most people. And it just from my own personal experience what I was saying earlier is I've had to forgive many abusers in my life and many situations where I have been victimized. And in order for me to stop being a victim and to stop being victimized, I've had to find a way to forgive the people that have harmed me and to forgive myself for all the times that I have abandoned myself in relationships where I've judged myself as not enough and therefore placing myself in harm's way, and also for not speaking my truth at all, let alone with love. And so some of us are capable of speaking our truth, and some of us are capable of speaking our truth with love. And that's a very different thing, because some people, when they speak their truth, it's not with love. And it's harsh, and it's brutal, and it's blunt, and people get hurt, and it causes harm. So one person's truth, though, is not necessarily the truth of the other person. And so it's important to remember that when someone is speaking their truth, whether it's projecting on you or not, it is so important to acknowledge the other person for them speaking their truth, but also you don't have to take it on. Whether it's true or not, you don't actually have to take it on, because it doesn't necessarily mean that it's your truth. And if that person believes it's the truth and they're not willing to hear that you have your own truth, then there's that moment where you get to decide and make a choice for yourself whether or not you choose to continue in that process with that person, or whether you choose to take care of yourself and walk away, right? And then going through the process of forgiveness. So for me, I've had to forgive privately, predominantly because those people that harmed me were from my childhood all the way through my life. Honestly, I've been put through a lot of things. I'm not going to say I'm a victim to them at this point, but there is a level of when you shine brightly, when you have a capacity for life that is expressive and loud, it rubs up against other people's edges, right? And those people, when their edges are when their boundaries get crossed and they're not able to identify that that's what's happening, they're going to lash back out. So the behavior of a narcissist, for example, because I've been talking a lot about narcissism, the behavior of a narcissist is somewhat related to this in that the narcissist has created and developed a pattern of behavior within their life to take from their environment and to try to control their environment because they feel like they're out of control. And they don't have the capacity to discern in any given moment how that's going to affect others. And so they cause harm to another. Whether or not they're intending to or not isn't the point, because what ends up happening is they hurt other people, and then those other people have felt victimized and violated and feel like a victim to that other person, and they are very much having to find it within themselves to forgive. And when you're triggered, you're not actually in a place of forgiveness. It's not something that occurs naturally until you've actually practiced forgiveness for a while and you realize that it's actually not personal to you, but it's actually their perception of reality and how they're operating within their reality. And so you can take a step back and say, oh, actually, I'm not going to personalize that, because that's actually their lenses that they're operating through. And so their projections and whatever it is they think that I'm doing is completely related to their mindset, how they've been programmed, how they've been conditioned to believe, and their actions are literally being propelled by those belief systems and those systems of thought, which I'm going to do another video about, or perhaps a perspectives blog, because it's really important for us to realize that the world that we're living in today is full of belief systems that have been created to distract us from being in our soul essence and having original thought. And so when we're not having an original thought, what's happening? We're receiving mindsets, we're receiving collective consciousness thought forms that don't necessarily align with our true essence. They're belief systems that are being placed into our field. So with forgiveness, it is important for us to remember that as we forgive, it's actually for us first. It is to allow us to go through the process of letting go of something that is holding us in a pattern of thought, in a thought form that doesn't serve our highest and truest essence. So whatever that takes to be able to forgive ourselves for participating in something that we were not true to ourselves in, and forgiving the other person, or forgiving a larger group, or someone whose actions we don't necessarily resonate with. And right now, we are being given the opportunity to forgive. We're being given the opportunity to really look at what isn't working in our society. And it's all coming to a head. And it's all so beautiful, because it's giving us an opportunity to discern and decide what it is that we want to have in our lives, and what kind of life we want to create for ourselves, and the world that we want to live in. This is all assisting us in discernment. This is assisting us in forgiveness. It's assisting us in allowing ourselves to go deeply into our hearts and to forgive those that have harmed others. And we get to witness this so deeply on such a massive scale right now. And it's only the tip of the iceberg. It has just started. So we are going to be in this for a while. And if we're not willing to look at our own potential of forgiveness, then it doesn't allow us to move forward in our heart, right? So for me, I have practiced forgiving the unforgivable. I have forgiven Saddam Hussein, for example, George Bush Jr., for example, people that I personally do not resonate with, and things that have happened, like, very, very deeply embedded into our collective consciousness, people that have controlled the population. And I've had personal experience with some of those people. So for me, it has been required of me to find the forgiveness within myself to be able to move forward. Because if I was to stay in that place of pain, it doesn't mean that I don't feel the pain. It means that I allow myself to feel the pain and to move through the pain back to a place of compassion and wisdom, so that that forgiveness is possible. So the piece here in forgiveness that's super important to recognize is allowing ourselves to feel the pain associated with what we have been through in our lives, and being willing to do the work that is necessary for us to come back into a place of compassion for ourselves predominantly, and for others, right? And so this past week has been a lot easier on me, I think, than it would have been had I not done the forgiveness work that I've done around my perpetrators and around the people that have harmed me in the past. If I would have waited until now to do the forgiveness work, I would be a fucking mess. Excuse my French, but it has given me an opportunity to see my growth and how much I can stay present with my feelings and staying present with my body and not disassociating when I'm triggered, but allowing myself to fully process the trigger, to fully express it in that moment, and to be able to witness my process and to be able to come to a place of forgiveness within myself for what's happening on our planet right now. And because I've had personal experience with some of the people that are, presently being held accountable, or so we think, it's brought up a lot in me. It's brought up a deep level of awareness that I have forgiven and that I am capable of going straight to forgiveness now for the benefit of the collective. I'm doing a lot of work, not just for myself, but for the collective, that I'm processing for the collective, and I'm allowing myself to hold an energy of unconditional love for what everyone is experiencing and going through, and specifically those that are being called out. And to be able to forgive them. There's a statement in Christianity, and also just there's a statement that Jesus made. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And another one is, but for the grace of God, there go I. I'm not a religious person. I was raised religiously. I am a spiritual human being, and I have gone through the depths of studying many different levels of religion and philosophy to always ask the question. I'm a student of life. I look for that which is available to me to understand. So forgiveness is also about seeking to understand what it is that would motivate someone to do what they do. And when you really look at what's happening in the motivations behind what's the actions, you get to see a couple of things. One, you get to see the abuse. And if you're really looking, you can actually see how someone could get to that place where they would act out in that specific way. It's like a bully, right? Usually a bully is someone that has been abused severely by one of their parental units, right? And so it's the same is true of any abuser. It's an opportunity for people to witness someone in their pain and to not make them wrong. Because, I mean, even if their actions are wrong and they need to be held accountable, them as a human being are dealing with a lot of different factors that create those actions. And so for us as a collective, and looking at this from another angle, how can we go into the space of forgiveness so that we personally don't have to suffer, but also so we can move past this in such a way that we are able to bring the collective forward for the benefit of everyone, right? Rather than just ourselves. Because at this point, it's collective. At this point, it actually is about all of us now, and all of us working together to vibrate at a very specific frequency to bring healing and revelation to what is taking place, so that as a collective, we can move forward in forgiveness for ourselves predominantly, and for those that have been affected, and for those that are affecting others, right? And there's a long list, honey. There's so many people. There's so many situations right now. And a lot of them, we can't see who the hand is behind what's happening. And the people that are taking the hit aren't necessarily the people behind the people. There are people there are energies behind the people operating that are taking the hit. And so that's a whole nother conversation that I'm not going to get into right now. But just to say that to be able to personally forgive anyone that has harmed us in any way, shape, or form gives us an opportunity to have a different perspective, and it gives us an opportunity to really step into unconditional love and compassion. Because those people predominantly are in pain. They're in pain, and they don't have tools to get out of their pain. And there are situations where this stuff continues for 30 years, for example, without somebody being held accountable, right? But what I say to that is, one person was willing to step forward for the benefit of all. And because that happened, it's giving all of us an opportunity to forgive. And it's also giving us an opportunity to witness and to see how massive this situation actually is, and what's been controlling the outcome of a lot of situations within the population. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, like I said before. So to be able to focus on forgiving is something that deepens our understanding, and it deepens our hearts. And it gives us an opportunity to drop from our intellect into our heart's intelligence. We have three brains in our body. We have the mind, We have the heart and we have the gut. And they're all brains, physical brains that we have. The heart actually has a resonance field that expands and you can actually measure it. The Heart Math Institute is an institute, or the Heart Math Institute has been developed to be able to share the heart's intelligence with the world, to help people understand that our hearts actually do operate. And when we do drop into our heart space, what happens is when we take it out of the consciousness of our minds and the emotional body which operates with our minds, and we go from the head to the heart and we drop into the heart. This is like the practical application of forgiveness. We drop into the heart space and we come into a heart resonance within ourselves, and we really feel the essence of what our heart is speaking to in any given moment. It becomes easy to forgive. It becomes possible to forgive. It doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean tolerating. And it doesn't mean not holding someone accountable. What it means is it gives us an opportunity to let go of the impact of the pain and to process our own pain, take full responsibility for our own pain and our own part in whatever that was, where we forgive ourselves and we forgive others. And then it gives us an opportunity to be objective and to be able to function moving forward in a way that serves the highest good for everyone involved. And so I think I'm going to share a little thing that I shared in another video that I did called Tools for Tools for Healing the Root Causes of Narcissism. So what I'm going to do is, it's called the self-forgiveness practice. And it's one of the things that has literally saved my life, like on so many levels. So I'm just going to share that. So just allow myself to feel my heart as I touch it. And also you can place your hand on your womb space, so your hara for men. That's at your belly, your sacred bowl. And this one touches deep for me because at the time when I was in Hollywood and all of this was happening for me, I judged myself as not enough. So although I've done the work around this specifically, in this self-forgiveness process, it's always good to revisit and to feel the depths of that within ourselves and how we have judged ourselves as not enough and therefore judged others because of that, right? And the core wounds of the heart that affects us are abandonment, betrayal, denial, judgment, and separation. And so with that, I just want to go into the forgiveness process of self-forgiveness, which then makes it easier for us to forgive others. Once we can see our own level of pain, it gives us an opportunity to see others in their pain and to have a compassionate viewpoint. I forgive myself for judging myself as not enough. I forgive myself for judging myself as not enough. I forgive myself for judging myself as not enough. Just really feeling what that feels like. To let yourself be with that. And what usually happens is you have lots of flashes in your mind of all the different times where you didn't allow yourself to just be who you are. And the other things that come up with this are abandoning yourself in your relationships with others, and also not speaking your truth. So those can be utilized here as well. And I suggest repeating these statements until you feel a shift into compassion for yourself on these levels. And this is very deep work. And I invite you to join in this prayer field because it really makes a huge difference. I forgive myself for all the times I abandoned myself in all of my relationships. I forgive myself for all the times I abandoned myself in all of my relationships. I forgive myself for all the times I abandoned myself in all of my relationships. And even though I do this process a lot when necessary, there are still things that come up in my mind where I have abandoned myself. It's amazing. I forgive myself for all the times I did not speak my truth. I forgive myself for all the times I did not speak my truth. I forgive myself for all the times I did not speak my truth. I forgive myself for all the times I did not speak my truth with love. That one's touching really deeply. I forgive myself for all the times I did not speak my truth with love. I forgive myself for all the times I did not speak my truth with love that may have caused harm to someone else. This one's big. I just invite you to really feel the depths of forgiveness within your heart for yourself and for others right now. And may we be kind to each other. May we speak our truth with love and compassion. This is what I feel is needed right now. Not to not say anything, but to speak our truth. Once we can find a place where we can come from a place of love. After we've done the forgiveness work that's required of us, of ourselves. Honoring each and every one of you for being here and being willing to witness this, being willing to participate in your own forgiveness process. I honor you so completely. May the blessings be with you. Namaste.